My name is Margaret Shimlas. I've lived in Hull and its environs all my life, which is getting on a bit now. And my earliest recollections are mainly of the ferry, which then brings us onto the bridge. I remember being told about the ferry before I was born, and how my father, who lived in George Street at a pork butcher shop that had belonged to his grandfather, and his father would send him with a handcart when he was about 12, 14 to the ferry to go over to New Holland and South Ferriby to load the cart with eggs and bring them back for the butcher's shop. In later life, when he had a vehicle, I think it was a small van, then he would drive to the pier and drive onto some sort of a sling, wooden sling, and then a crane would lift the vehicle off Minerva Pier and swing it over and deposit it on the ferry. And that was how they packed all the vehicles on the ferry at that time. And the Minerva Pier was almost opposite the Minerva pub. And then, of course, later on in my recollection was when we actually drove down the pontoon, which was quite scary. It was all wooden slats, and if the tide was low, it was quite steep to drive down it. And I remember as a toddler being quite nervous, and Big Brother saying, "Come on, we'll be there in a minute, don't worry." And yeah, that was scary. And of course, when you got onto the ferry, we all had to get out because the cars were packed so close together. But although it was scary, I knew that it would be wonderful when we eventually got to Norfolk to visit my aunt and my cousins, and we would be left for a week or so, more or less for a holiday, it was a wonderful experience going there. And my Norfolk cousins are nearly all gone now, but the memories are still there, and it's pretty wonderful. It was 1998, May 1998. I was listening to Radio Humberside, and this guy said he was going to abseil off the Humber Bridge to raise money for cancer. Cancer research, of course. So I thought, that sounds fun. And I thought, no, you don't like heights. No, I can't do that. And then I thought, you know what? I've lost too many from cancer. We're going to have a go at this. So I sent off for the sponsorship forms, and my husband was appalled. But he backed me up, and we were in business at that time. So all our customers backed me up, family backed me up, and I think I raised about £450 all told. And my brother and sister-in-law took us to the Humber Bridge because we had no transport at that time. And it was frightening. And everyone else, I'm not very tall, and everyone else was just climbing over the guardrail. And of course I couldn't even get on the guardrail, so these guides had to give me a bunk up, which was rather embarrassing. And they told me what to do, and I did it properly. And the feeling of euphoria was like nothing else. I wanted to go back and do it again. And I think that was one of the highlights of my life, actually. Yes, it really was.